Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the World News at 12 from Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. First, our top stories. Datti Baba-Ahmed says joined forces with Peter Obi out of sympathy as three major politicians avoided him. Aregbesola asked new judge to withdraw from Gombe's suit as ADC crisis intensifies. Ekiti community protests as kidnappers hold 16 victims despite ransom payment. IOM receives 180 Nigerian migrants from Libya. On international scene, US and Iran launch new strikes as Kuwait says airport hit by Iranian drones. And in sport, Iran World Cup squad to arrive Mexico Sunday as US-Iran war rages. Those are our top stories. Details coming up now. First on the news, politics where Yusuf Datti Baba-Ahmed, vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party LP in the 2023 election, says he joined forces with Peter Obi out of sympathy. Baba-Ahmed spoke during an interview with media outlet Sympathy. He said Obi had approached three prominent politicians ahead of the 2023 election, but none agreed to run with him. According to him, his decision to become Obi's running mate was driven by sympathy for the ex-Anambra governor and the country's political situation at the time. Baba-Ahmed said he voluntarily stepped in because he believed it was in the country's best interest to do so. Take a listen.
That is, whereas the Section 14B of normal Nigerian constitution is the provision of is to secure the life and properties of Nigerians and welfare. The primary purpose of governance shall be the security and welfare, and the primary purpose of Tinubu's government, the primary purpose has been to destabilize other political parties. So you will be more correct to say, why did you reposition? Why did you relocate? That goes to Peter Obi, that goes to everybody. You should sympathize with Nigerian politicians for the way things are going. Again, when you build into the equation how Femi Rojamila, his boss, and his compatriots have been playing football with Nigerian political parties, you will see that we're actually repositioning. So now to answer your question. Blunders. Like I said, so long as your name is human being, you're here on this earth with us, a human being will sort you out. If you are a spirit, we don't know that one. Tinubu is human. We will treat him as such. His other people are all human. They can try to play God or spirit to an extent, but those of us who can see through them, we know who they are. Will not. You are here with us, we'll sort you out, and they'll be making lots of blunders. They thought I'll follow Peter Obi. Now, people don't understand that between me and Obi, there's a great deal of sympathy. I have sympathy for him. And this sympathy was at the core of our relationship. People find it difficult to understand me. When he approached three other major politicians in 2022 and they avoided him, I would have been glad if in 2022 one of them went with Peter Obi. But they all avoided him. I felt bad for him. I felt bad for Nigeria as a nation. You know the reasons, I know the reasons, we don't have to say them now. And I took it upon myself because naturally I've always been a volunteer. For the sake of Nigeria, I extended that sympathy to him. They thought I'll follow Peter Obi, but I had given enough sympathy there. And I thought as a leader, what we should do, he should do then was to, sort the problem out. I mean, if Aburi was a problem, what makes him think the Nwosu or the David Mark of ADC will not be a problem? What makes you think the chairman of Seriake of NDC will not be a problem? So it's the same thing wherever you go. Stay here and fix this problem now.
Still on politics, National Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Ralph Aregbesola, has asked Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja to recuse himself from the party's leadership crisis suit reassigned to him. Aregbesola's application came barely less than a day to the hearing in the suit filed by Nafiu Balagumbe to stop David Mark-led leadership of the ADC from parading themselves as valid leaders of the party. Justice Lifu had fixed tomorrow for the hearing of the case after the Chief Judge of the court, John Soho, reassigned the matter to him. The case filed by Gumbi, the aggrieved former national deputy chairman of the ADC, was earlier before Justice Emeka Nwite of a sister court. The matter was, however, reassigned to Justice Lifu after Nwike's name was announced among the 12 new justices whose names were sent to President Bola Tinubu for approval as judges of the appeal court. Meanwhile, Aregbesola, in a motion on notice dated June 1 but filed June 2, asked Justice Lifu to withdraw from the case and transfer the suit back to the CJ for reassignment to another judge. The ADC National Secretary, through his lawyer Mohammed Sharif, cited lack of confidence in the judge in his 7-ground argument. He submitted that the 1999 Constitution, as amended, guarantees every litigant a hearing before an independent and impartial panel. Away from insecurity, now we'll go to politics, rather, will go to insecurity, where residents of Edauniyo community in Ilejameja local government area of Ekiti State have staged a peaceful protest calling for urgent intervention from the state and federal government as well as security agencies over the continued captive of 16 kidnapped residents despite the payment of a 10.5 million naira ransom. The protesters, comprising community leaders, relatives of the victims, women and youths, said the abductees had remained in captivity for 36 days, with the kidnappers now demanding an additional 50 million naira for their release. The victims were abducted on April 28, 2026, when suspected bandits attacked Christ Apostolic Church (CAC) during a service in the community. The attackers allegedly killed the presiding pastor and kidnapped 16 worshippers. According to residents, the kidnappers initially demanded 1 billion naira ransom, which was later reduced to 150 million naira before being further reduced to 50 million naira. Speaking during the protest, the community leader Ayodele Ajayi said communication with the captives had continued intermittently, but efforts to secure the release had so far proven unsuccessful. Another resident, identified simply as Mrs. Ajayi, appealed to the authorities to intensify efforts to secure the victims' release, noting that children and elderly persons were among those being held. During the protest, the community representatives Ayodele Oni said residents felt abandoned despite raising the ransom through collective efforts and supplying food items and other materials demanded by the kidnappers. Oni described the process of delivering the ransom as traumatic, alleging that community representatives traveled through parts of Kwara and Kogi states and trekked down and deep into forest before handing over the money. Meanwhile, the National Association of Nigerian Students, Zone E Northeast, has directed its members across the region to participate in a peaceful solidarity demonstration over the abduction of 42 students of Government Day Secondary School, Musa, in Askira Oba local government area of Borno State. The protest, scheduled to hold on June 5 to June 7, 2026, will take place simultaneously in the 5 northeast states of Borno, Gombe, Bauchi, Adamawa, and Taraba. A notice issued by the Chief of Staff to the Zonal Coordinator Lukman Yusuf on Wednesday said the demonstration was aimed at drawing national attention to the plight of the abducted students and demanding intensified efforts to secure their release. The student body also called on the federal government to strengthen security around schools and other educational institutions across the country. NANS directed all its structures, including Joint Campus Committee leadership, students' union, government executives, delegates, and stakeholders to mobilize members responsibly and ensure the demonstrations remain peaceful and orderly. The zonal coordinator of NANS Zone E, Comrade Mwazu Ina, emphasized the need for collective action to demand the safe return of the students and improved protection of learners nationwide. The association said the planned demonstration was intended to show solidarity with the affected families and keep public attention on the plight of the abducted students. The abduction of the 42 students from Government Day Secondary School, Musa, in Askira Oba local government area of Borno State has sparked widespread concern among education stakeholders, residents, and civil society groups. The International Organization for Migration (IOM) has received another batch of Nigerian migrants evacuated from Libya. The evacuation was part of efforts to address irregular migration and support vulnerable returnees, the UN agency said in a statement. The 180 returnees, comprising mainly women and children, arrived at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos aboard a chartered flight from Libya. According to the IOM, many of them had endured difficult conditions, including detention, exploitation, and uncertainty while attempting to migrate abroad. The agency also said that the returnees had been provided with health screening, counseling, and other immediate assistance, while eligible beneficiaries would receive reintegration support to help them rebuild their lives. The IOM says it has rescued more than 65,500 stranded Nigerian migrants in the past 9 years. It disclosed that a migration reporting workshop in Lagos that over 30,000 returnees had also received psychological, social, and economic support to help rebuild their lives. The agency, however, said it was intensifying efforts to promote safe and legal migration pathways while urging greater public awareness and responsible media coverage for migration issues. Worried by the dangers in irregular migration, the federal government in May 2026 cautioned Nigerians against leaving the country without valid travel documents. President Bola Tinubu is scheduled to address a joint session of the National Assembly on June 12 as part of activities marking this year's Democracy Day celebration. The address will form part of a series of special official events lined up by the federal government to commemorate the 2026 Democracy Day, according to the Inter-Ministerial Committee inaugurated on Tuesday to coordinate the nationwide program. Other activities lined up for the celebration included a World Press Conference on June 4, special Jumat prayers on June 5, an interdenominational church service on June 7, a Democracy Day public lecture on June 9, youth and women-oriented programs on June 10, a presidential broadcast on June 12, and a Democracy Day gala night. Inaugurating the committee, the federal government paid tribute to the late Chief MKO Abiola and other heroes of the June 12 struggle. A statement by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation's Media Aide, Yomi Odunuga, said the SGF George Akume noted that the Democracy Day provides an opportunity to reflect on the sacrifices made by Nigerians who fought for democratic governance. Akume described the June 12 anniversary as a significant moment to honor those who contributed to Nigeria's democratic journey. You are currently listening to the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We go straight to our analysis segment where we have Lawal Ekundayo. He's our public affairs analyst. Mr. Ekundayo, thank you very much for joining us on the World News at 12.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's go to the first story on our news item, which is Datti Baba-Ahmed making news again. For some time now, he's not just been speaking against Peter Obi. He looks more like he's on a war path with him. And this time in an interview on a media outlet yesterday, he said that, well, he joined forces with Peter Obi out of sympathy. Because before him, Peter Obi had met 3 other major politicians who avoided him. What do you think of that statement?
Well, I don't think it has anything to do with the reality on ground. And I strongly believe it has nothing to do with the question that he was asked. Because when you say something like sympathy, it sounds like the person was in some kind of trouble. So you now took pity on him, you now helped him out of that trouble by being a vice. I mean, it doesn't add up, for being a vice, by took pity on somebody, you now became his vice. You didn't make him vice. You became his vice by taking pity on him. So if the person eventually become president, so who's gaining more, the president or the vice? So the president will choose. He can choose anybody. He has thousands of people across the country he can choose from, or from any region he wants to. So for him to now say he approached 3 people, they didn't accept, he now decided to, out of pity, that doesn't speak well for his side as a politician. And then you see, all of them have moved along. Datti has gone into another party. The same thing you are accusing Obi of.
Yeah,
you have also done the same thing,
because he remained in the Labour Party for a long time. At a point, some political analysts were thinking he'll probably become the presidential flag bearer of Labour Party, considering he was the vice presidential candidate on the same platform. But then he defected from Labour Party, which makes this statement looks very confusing.
You have done exactly the same thing you are accusing Obi of. You have done it. That means there is a serious crisis in Labour that you yourself could not resolve. Because ideally you could resolve it, you will have resolved it and remain in Labour Party, and then from there you will now boast that, see this problem, I have resolved it, or we have been able to resolve that, and I still remain, and then you can now begin to throw your jabs at Obi. But what you are accusing him of is exactly what you eventually did, to let you know that there's a justification for Obi leaving, that you have now justified Obi leaving Labour. That means that problem too is something you could not solve, so you had to leave. That means Obi took a decisive a good decision as of that time to leave, because he saw the problem as something that cannot be resolved. So he left.
They saw that it would escalate, so even a worse situation.
So you also did exactly this. That means you came back to agree with the reason why he left as of that time. If not, you could have remained there and resolved it. And judging from what is happening in Labour, everybody can see, any Labour person can see that problem will not go as of this time we have. That problem will never go. Because the reason for the problem... I've
lost the count of the many factions they have in Labour Party. 3?
Even what about the judgment of the Supreme Court that they refused to obey, and the government the authority did not do anything? Because this man keep parading himself as an official of Labour, where the Supreme Court says his tenure has expired, and he keep parading. Is that not impersonation? And then the authority didn't do anything. They just left him there to continue to cause that mayhem in that party. So is this something that can be resolved? No. Because if you want to resolve, you can't carry gun and go to him now, and you cannot go there and beat him to leave the place. You have to go to the authority and lodge a complaint, and then the authority will now call him. The same authority that saw what he's doing and just leave him to continue doing it. So they let you know that the problem will not go as of the time we are. So that's why Obi left. And you now confirmed the reason why Obi left by eventually leaving to another party. So why are you now accusing Obi?
What do you think is going on with Datti Baba-Ahmed, though? Do you think he's angry with Peter? Because these tirades look personal. Probably felt Obi should have remained in Labour Party to fight tooth and nail to make sure the party was stabilized. Because on one hand, it also looked like he's trying as much as possible to detach himself from the popularity of Peter Obi to make himself.
But he keep mentioning the guy. So yes, each time he mentions Obi, he's still revolving around his popularity, because when you mention somebody who is popular, everybody wants to listen. If you mention somebody who is not popular, nobody wants to listen, of course. So each time you mention his name, you are attaching yourself to him. You know, there are two ways by which you can be popular. Either as somebody who is famous or as a notorious person. You can either be popular from the negative aspect or from the positive aspect. So each time
famous or infamous.
Yeah. So each time you mention somebody's name, whether on both sides, the people raise their eyebrow. You get this, and we know what is going on as of now. That Obi is one of the most popular politicians, most
popular persons in Nigeria. Actually.
Yes. So
not
every now and then. So I believe, but what I would advise him to do is this, because you are a politician, that's dirty. You are a politician, you are a big name, and everybody, analyze everything you see, and it can work against you, just like what you have in Boala. What he said before is now haunting him now. So you have to be careful. Now you are in the opposition, he is in the opposition. Even if you are in two different parties, you can still work together. That's why you have negotiations. You can still work together.
It doesn't have to be a war path.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, because you have the same goal. You are both in the opposition. Then work together.
But what do you think is going on with him? Is he angry? Is he jealous? I mean, we don't know him as much as whatever discussions that we've had behind the scene with Peter Obi. Maybe they fell out, but it's not exactly public knowledge. We only just seeing him spewing a lot of negative talk against Peter Obi.
I would say that many of them, many of these politicians, they are getting redirected. I say what I want to use here.
Desperate.
Not really desperate. They are getting, like somebody is manipulating you into a certain direction.
Oh, okay.
What I'm trying to say is that look at the way Wike is doing. So it kind of is confusing many of these politicians who are not really, tactical. So it's really diverting, because he's the one always coming out to say you are in PDP, you are in that, he keep coming out and talk whatever he likes. You get it? So that is kind of redirecting the direction of many of these politicians to think that is the normal way or the norms by which you run politics. It's not. You must be able to have your own, direction, and be able to follow your own direction. That's why you see many of them come out and attack him, because that is the way Wike works. You come out and talk and attack and do whatever he like. Now, he is, in the good book of the ruling party.
Who? Wike?
Yes, okay. And the president. So whatever he does goes, as of now. And he has his mission.
He has immunity for now.
Yes, and a mission which is trying to get to the end of it, which we all know. You are different. You can't hold that line. You have to be tactical. You have to be very careful what you say. What you say must have a direction, and it must reflect your philosophy, your ideology. Yes, and so many others. So stop attacking each other. It's even in the camp of Atiku. You notice there's a time some of them were even attacking Obi, and then some people from ADC was also doing that. And then that is not the way it's supposed to be done.
We had someone from APM saying that PRP rather saying that Peter Obi became popular because of Datti Baba-Ahmed.
You see, somebody even said something like he likes something easy. He like who will see fire on ground and then you now go there because you want to prove a point. If you don't, unless you want to perform magic, nobody will see death in the front or problem and then you want to just go there because you want to prove to people that you like problem, Abi, or you are problematic. So if you see something that if you see something that is not going to work for you, are you not going to leave? You all change jobs now. If you see job that this job will not take me to where I want to go, you leave.
So, but what do you think happened to Labour Party though? Because I mean, obviously we know Labour Party was one of the numerous political parties in Nigeria, one of those parties, until Peter Obi came along and then he elevated the status of that party, so much so that despite the short time they were able to garner more than 6 million votes. Well, some would say Peter Obi actually won that election, but it was rigged.
Beating their chest that they have evidences and everything to prove that.
You know, but nonetheless, he raised the status of that party. And then as soon as the 2023 election was over, the party disintegrated. You know, it has gone from chaos, from chaos to chaoser, if there's any word like that. What do you think happened? I mean, there have been different conspiracy theories. Some have said that it's thanks to APC and President Bola Tinubu trying to dismantle the opposition party, trying to make Peter Obi redundant and fit for the next general election. But Peter Obi left Labour Party a while ago, but it looks like the party keeps going from bad to worse.
One thing about that area is that you see, initially they thought he was not going to. It's just a minor contender. As of then, they thought he was not going to. You know, this one is not a problem.
They did not see the firestorm coming,
so they didn't bother to even go to that area. They were looking at between the Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Atiku was the major focus. So and Obi and some other presidential candidates were seen as this one like they are in the third world country. You know, when somebody is in the third world country, you just look at these people. But when he now, when he did that, gathering that vote, it really shocked them, especially winning Lagos and winning Abuja. And they were wondering, this man that did not really, campaign, doesn't have money to share and every other thing. And then he was able to.
And it was in a political party that does not have the structure that PDP and APC have.
So that created a fear and attention towards that area. That what makes him tick? So they try to analyze what made him tick. You understand? That they discovered that himself on his own, he has his own this horror and handle that people believe in. His antecedent is very fantastic. It has no rival, and he boasts of it. And then they now saw that the better way to handle him, if you have nothing to use to bring him down, like what they are doing to El-Rufai now.
Well, except in Peter Obi's case, El-Rufai have a lot of skeletons in his cupboard.
So that's what I'm saying. That it's easy to pick something against him and use it and bring him down. But now they don't have for Obi, so that's a problem. So that's okay. What we need to do is to prevent him from coming out. So they tried attacking, it didn't work. The guy with the mouth was okay. The people say, bring us evidence of this thing you have against him. No evidence. So that didn't work. Then I said, okay, the better option is to prevent him from being a candidate. So if you prevent from being if he's the best guy, the best person in the world, or who you think can do the thing, and he doesn't have a platform, that's the end now.
A good platform, not just platform.
He will never.
So you think that was? Do you think that what happened to Labour Party?
Yeah. So that began to put. And another thing is that
he has left Labour Party. Why is Labour Party still descending into chaos?
The thing is that after I left the Labour Party, that party came down. You see that there was a form of settlement in that party. Then they now discovered that those people that they were using in the party, they felt irrelevant, so they had to come out and show their relevancy. So so they had to begin to do that thing they are doing again. So you know that's what I'm saying, because they don't have a candidate now, they don't have anything there, so they just have to find a way to come and show that we still belong, so that whosoever is giving them the resources they need will not say you are irrelevant again. So why do I need to give you the resources? So you have to show yourself you are relevant by continuing what you are doing. I can continue to pump resources into, because I will ask, why do I need to support you again? The person that what we are really doing this in is no more there. So what's your relevancy? So they have to show their face again in order to continue to have that relevance.
Well, still talking of crisis of opposition political parties, ADC is another party in crisis. The National Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Rafa Igbeshola, has asked Justice Peter Lifu of the Federal High Court in Abuja to recuse himself from the party's leadership crisis suit reassigned to him. This is another more like the same thing that happened to Labour Party. As soon as Peter Obi got to ADC, the party unraveled. Different crises, different factions.
Even the person that said yes came back to say no. I didn't know when I said yes.
and this like deja vu all over again. Peter Obi have left ADC for them, but the crisis continues with a different legal situation with nephew Balagombe, one of the supposed faction leader, trying to fight tooth and nail to be recognized as the party chairman of that party. What's your take on?
No, one thing is that's why when some people said it was an error for Obi to have moved to ADC, but I said it's not an error.
You don't think so?
See, if
you think it was tactical?
Yes.
Okay, how so?
If an enemy is chasing you and you are escaping in a predictable way, the enemy will get that person. You understand what I'm saying? You are escaping. You are running away from an enemy in a predictable way, in a way the enemy can predict you. Of course, the enemy will get that person. A lion is chasing you. The lion can predict your movement. Of course, it will get you. You have to, confuse the lion by not following the predictable way, the way that others, will follow. That is the way you can confuse your enemy. Now, that's what I believe he did.
Okay.
Remember that before they went to ADC.
So you think the original plan, he did not intend to remain in ADC?
Yes, he had plan B and C.
That was a path to his final destination.
Yes, wow. That's it. So before they went to ADC, when they were forming that coalition, they wanted to register a party. There was a party they wanted to go to. There was a crisis came in. I think it was this SDP or something. Then they now tried to float a party. I forgot the name of that party. INEC didn't register that party. You remember? It's one of those that were pending. So they had to find a way to get into ADC. Then the crisis began in ADC. After they've settled everything, they were already settled down, and then the crisis just came up again. There was a crisis. After they settled down, then the crisis continued, and then Obi applied his own, plan. I think plan C. At the time in which it's almost very close to, the deadline. So it will be difficult to begin to, reorganize that party or disrupt that party before it's already coming out as a candidate. Can you see now that is one of the stable candidates now?
And a stable party.
Yes, in a stable party for now.
Well, don't you?
But if he had remained in the ADC or Labour, that is the end. His name will never come out. And look at what Rotimi Amechi and the other man complained about.
Ayatollah.
Yes, see their complaint. This reason you can see that this man has
Rotimi has been compensated as the vice president.
And somebody told me he didn't accept. I heard he accepted. Somebody said he didn't accept that they have not approached him.
Well, for so far, I think that's the situation. If something have changed, we've not heard about it yet. Well, don't you think members of the ADC will be aggrieved that Peter Obi used them?
See, I keep saying something that you have the same goal. That is opposition. When you say opposition consists of so many parties, organizations, people who believe that they are not comfortable with the leadership of the present, political party in power. So is that political party versus all the aggrieved people? We call them opposition. Now, do we begin to have problem in the opposition again? Now, if you are together, you are all opposition, you need to work together. You need to work together, because if you keep scattering yourself, none of you will get it.
Well, it's easy to say good. This is good news for APC and the ruling party.
Yes.
Except, fortunately or unfortunately, APC have had their own problems. They also have some aggrieved APC members, the ones that moved into the party for political advancement, but didn't get consensus candidates.
Yes.
Took them out of the line.
Not even consensus. It's even worse than consensus. You know what happened? They were rigged out through the primaries.
Let's move away from politics because of time. Let's go to insecurity, where a resident of a community in Ilejemeje local government area of Ekiti State, they're staging a peaceful protest calling for urgent intervention from the state and federal government, as well as security agencies, over the continued captivity of 16 kidnapped residents, despite the payment of a 10.5 million ransom. This is what the federal government has turned Nigerians into because of their incompetence to secure Nigerian lives. Nigerians are now battling to secure their own lives, paying ransom for residents. According to information, the residents all contributed, and gave these kidnappers. But those in captivities are still there. What's your take on this story?
Before I will say much on that, there's an advice I want to give Nigeria, because we've talked about this insecurity many times. It's still there. It's an issue that has not gone out, so we must continue discussing.
It's not just it's going from bad to worse.
Yes, so it's something we must even intensify our discussion and talk. But there's an advice I want to give. Maybe instead of paying ransom, we should begin to gather money and secure ourselves. When kidnapper kidnap now, you now begin to look for money to gather 10 million, 15 million to give the ransom, the terrorists.
I mean,
why not take that money and begin to now provide security for your area?
How much secure can you be if the
if
the Nigerian police and the Nigerian army, these are trained combatants, cannot fight insecurity? Because if the stories we keep hearing is anything to go by, these insurgents have even much more sophisticated weapons than the Nigerian army, the Nigerian police. You can as well say you have much more sophisticated weapon than the federal government.
Yes.
So how much of weapons can you buy
that's why he said
to secure yourself?
It has come to the time,
and at the same time, don't forget our private security. We have very little private security architecture in Nigeria. A lot of these security outfits don't have the license to bear arms.
Yes,
it's only
they don't.
Exactly. So
see,
how do you do that?
There's a proverb in Yoruba. Can I say it?
You're free.
It says, "Ogun asotele ki n paro to ba gbon." That is the battle that is coming, and you have informed a crippled person will not get that crippled person, but a crippled person who is wise. Do you know why? Because when you tell them that war is coming, the crippled man will start running that very moment he had a battle. He will start running away. He's a cripple managing. So if you continue, within days he will have got far away from the war. Now it has come to that level now. Even if you don't bear arms, that is the security outfit, the outfit, they don't, this private one, they don't bear arms.
And they are also nowhere trained to manage this kind of situation.
That's why I'm talking about this money that they are giving the terrorists. Why not begin to use it to secure your community? Begin to have security, private security outfits in your community and empower them, contribute money, empower them. Let me tell you something. Apart from bearing arms, there are things that are greater than arms that can help people.
Bigger than AK-47.
No, what I'm saying that if you inform, if you give them information, you get it. You have all the gadgets that can map out that area for like kilometers. Maybe drones, maybe CCTV camera. You install them in the some strategic areas. The moment you see the enemy is coming, they are already informing the people in the community. The people will run away from the community and then come back later, or maybe
reinforced.
Yes,
they will come back reinforced.
So the people too, now you get set, now you go and come. By the time they get to that area, they didn't see anybody. Let me say that school they came to kidnap. Now they have been informed. The people have run away. By the time they get to that school, they didn't see anybody. Do you know that it will be difficult for those terrorists to come back? Because one, they have spent resources to come there. Do you know that?
Okay.
So that resources is a waste. Two, they'll be afraid that the people have been informed about their coming. So they'll be careful because they know that their next coming, the people will be prepared for them. You understand? So they too will be afraid. So by the time you start, instead of this 50 million, this 50 million is big now, you start getting those security outfits in your community and then stretching them with enough gadgets to be able to warn the people before this thing comes to them.
What does this?
Because we are tired of this ransom. You pay ransom. Some of them, they'll pay ransom and kill them. There's one politician coming, I think from Kaduna to Abuja. After collecting 17 million, they still killed him. 17 million, for God's sake. That's a huge money.
Yeah.
That money could go a long way in empowering a community-based security, private security outfit with their gadgets. You have your drone, you have your CCTV camera, you have centers that are monitoring. People can even watch it from their phone. You get it? Even around the school, you have maybe all these cameras very, very close, very far away. It monitors people. The suspicious people can easily be got arrested. It looks suspicious, so it's not from this area. They can question. The moment they find that you are already arrested.
Now, but what does this also say to the federal government?
Because we have seen this failure already. What we look see, the government is meant for the people. So if the government cannot secure the people anymore, the people must secure themselves.
Now, what does this mean for the federal government's willingness to fight insecurity? Because, I mean, there's been lots of conspiracy theories. A lot of security analysts and security experts have said that this federal government can stop this insecurity if they want to. But for political will, some of these financiers of terrorism are bigger than the federal government can fight. So the federal government were just trying to manage the situation instead of actually fighting. I mean, the representative of these communities, community on narrated the experience they went through in order to pay this ransom, that they traveled through part of Kwara and Kogi state and trekked deep into forest, handing in this money. They say they've been communicating with these terrorists. It shows these, and from information, they've also been communicating with security agencies about the progress of this, which means these insurgents are not spirits. They are humans. They have phone numbers. They communicate with family members of these captives.
Government.
Of course, these terrorism negotiator.
Even said that he went with government official. Even there was one recently that I think is it Kesina or something, in which the community the chairman of the local government negotiated with the terrorists and told them what we are going to meet your demand. I begin to wonder what demand you want to meet of the terrorists. For God's sake. That
means if the federal government indeed, from all we've heard, really want to fight this insecurity, insecurity. They can. I mean, they can make use of these community representatives.
Let me even tell you one.
Tell us.
Let me tell
go
you.
And show us the forest.
Let me tell you. The same federal government that is able to thwart a coup
in Benin Republic.
Not even in Nigeria. Not even Benin in Nigeria here.
Oh yeah.
They were able to get the coup before it happened. That is a high intelligence, my God, my brother. They were able to go to Benin, another state country, a sovereign country, to thwart a coup that already succeeded, and they succeeded in stopping that coup. The same government that traveled as far as Nigeria to Kenya to get Nnamdi Kanu, bring him back to Nigeria. Tell me, is that government not as powerful as America? Because what America has done that they have not done, they've been able to move from this Nigeria to another country, get anybody who want to get, and bring him back to Nigeria. They've been able to thwart a coup before it happened. They even went to another country and stopped a successful coup.
Which means the federal government have what it takes.
Yeah, so it's not about that they don't have what it takes. The question we should ask them is that, why are you not doing it? That is it. Why do you refuse? Why do you leave it? Because to me, I see it as they just leave it.
Now, moving on, the Nigerian Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, has directed its members across the region to participate in the peaceful solidarity demonstration over the abduction of 42 students of Government Day Secondary School in Mosa in Askira local government area of Borno State. The demonstration is supposed to hold from June 5 to June 7. Abduction of school children have intensified in the last couple of months, and this is one of those. We're still talking about the Oyo abduction, and this is another one. I'm still wondering, why are schools, secondary and primary schools, still operational?
That's it.
In the midst of this insecurity, why are schools still operational, despite the fact that the government or the private school owners know they don't have the security strong enough to battle these insurgents? Why are schools still operational? Why can't we do online learning like it was done? I mean, school didn't shut down during COVID. The world evolved with the situation.
Do you know you don't run away? If you keep running away, the enemy will keep chasing. That's the problem. Now, the private will think, why should we go on? Why should we join the strike? That is private school owners. They say, why do we need to join the strike? It's the public. But you forgot that if the public refuse to go to school, they will come to you. They've not forgotten, because this is a national issue. If this we having strikes now, and then very soon they may tell the students not to resume in school again, and then the private school will continue. Are you forgotten that that private school is still humans that are there? These terrorists will eventually go to that private school and kidnap the student. So if you think you are not going to join it, it's coming to your doorstep. Some people said in those days that, oh, it's just in Borno. Later, it's just in the north. Now, it's already in the...
spread into every part of Nigeria.
Now, it will soon get to the public, to the private schools plus universities, and begin to kidnap.
I mean, it has already affected lots of private schools and high institutions in the north and the middle belt. So
now, this is a national issue which everybody collectively must take that action. The action of the strike. Action of the strike. Let's sit at home, strike and sit. 2027 election is coming. Let's sit at home. Let's sit at home, because it doesn't make sense for you to okay. These children that are kidnapped, after the kidnapping, how many series of activities nationals have we done in Nigeria? The same time they came to hand over the candidacy form that the president won to him. After that, so many, and then 2 weeks after, they went to visit those people that were kidnapped, and up till now, nothing has been done. Do you remember? Sorry, sir, just 1 minute. Do you remember the case of Entebbe? Do you remember the case of Entebbe, in which the Palestinians with in collaboration with a German terrorist, kidnapped the Israeli, hijacked Israeli plane and took it to Uganda. And then Idi Amin was telling the Prime Minister of Israel and the world that they should listen to the demands of those terrorists. The world was also talking to Israel to listen to the demands of the terrorists. But what did Israel do? He sent his elite force. The force is majorly for that operation, counter-terrorism. They sent it to Uganda.
And killed
all the. They saved all their people.
Israel has one of the best covert operators.
That's a serious country. That's a serious government. That's a serious government, for God's sake. This Netanyahu, his brother was the one that led that mission. His brother died. He was the only person that died in that mission, and they saved almost all the people. Almost all their people. America will tell you, if you harm one American, sorry, you are gone. Anybody that supports you, that finance you, that is in support of you, is totally go. They will go after them. You get it? But here is where we come and negotiate with terrorists. What they will give you money. What they will begin to. That's our leadership. That's the type of leadership.
Kidnapping has become one of the biggest business right now.
Yes, business now.
Well, I wish we can talk more. We have to go. Unfortunately, there was even no time for us to talk on the IMO story where 180 Nigerian migrants were brought back to Nigeria from Libya, but
they will still go. They will go back. More will go back. You know why? Because what are they coming to? What do they want to come and do here? We should ask ourselves now. Where?
We have to go, Mr. Ekundayo. Thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
That was Lawal Ekundayo, public affairs analyst, talking to us live on Voice of the People, VOP 90.3 FM on the World News at 12. And now for a quick look at what's happening outside Nigeria. The U.S. military has said it launched self-defense strikes on Iran overnight and shot down ballistic missiles and drones fired at ships and Gulf countries. The strikes on Qasem Island in the Strait of Hormuz were in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East, the U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, said. CENTCOM said Iran had fired 2 missiles at Kuwait and 3 at Bahrain, all of which broke parts or were intercepted. Iran said it had attacked U.S. bases and helicopters in the regional country using missiles and drones in retaliation. 1 person was killed in Kuwait and a number of others injured when drones hit buildings, including its international airport, according to the Foreign Ministry. Kuwait's Defense Ministry spokesman, Brigadier General Saud Abdulaziz Al-Otaibi, called the attack criminal Iranian aggression, while the Kuwait's foreign ministry later said infrastructure, including domestic diplomatic missions, had been damaged. CENTCOM said the strike on Qasem Island had targeted an Iranian military ground control station. They said the U.S. also shot down 3 attack drones that had been launched by Iran towards civilian mariners that were rightfully transiting regional waters. CENTCOM had earlier said it had struck and dismantled and disabled an unladen oil tanker that was sailing towards Iran as part of the U.S. naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz, which began on 13 April. Iran's Islamic Revolution Guard Corps, IRGC, said disrupting the security of the Strait of Hormuz will carry a heavy price for the aggressive U.S. military. And finally, on our sports news, Iran's World Cup squad will arrive early on Sunday in Mexico, where they will be based for the duration of the global football tournament, a team statement said on Wednesday. The Iran players, who had been at a training camp in the southern Turkish resort of Antalya since May 18, are still waiting for their U.S. visas. The 2026 World Cup, which has been jointly hosted by the United States, Mexico and Canada, runs from June 11 to July 19. Iran's team Meli had been drawn in Group G and will play New Zealand and Belgium in Los Angeles on June 15 and 21, followed by a game against Egypt in Seattle in June 26. The U.S. military began bombing Iran alongside Israel on February 28, sparking war, although the hostilities were halted by an April 8 ceasefire. On Monday evening, Iran's Football Federation chief Mehdi Taj said the players were expected to get their visas from Mexico either on Tuesday or Wednesday, and then a U.S. visa will be issued quickly. It was also immediately clear whether or not whether or not they had received them. Taj also said the team would fly to Mexico via Spain. Tensions over the war have complicated the U.S. visa issue, with Taj saying on May 24 that Team Melli was shifting their World Cup base from Tucson in the U.S. state of Arizona to the northwestern Mexican border city of Tijuana. Ahead of their departure on Saturday, Iran will play a final friendly against Mali in Antalya on Thursday after beating Gambia 3-1 on May 29. But just before we go here again, our top stories. Datti Baba-Ahmed says he joined forces with Peter Obi out of sympathy as 3 major politicians avoided him. Aregbesola asked a new judge to withdraw from Gombe suit as ADC crisis intensifies. Ekiti community protests as kidnappers hold 16 victims despite ransom payment. IOM receives 180 Nigerian migrants from Libya. On international news, US and Iran launch new strikes as Kuwait says airport hit by Iranian drones. And in our sports news, Iran World Cup squad to arrive Mexico Sunday as US-Iran war rages. And that's a wrap on the world news at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903 FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903 FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Playing the best for hard working Nigerians.